Hey, this is Caesar from Toxic Baits, and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about some weedless swim baits today. On the Delta, I get to use a lot of weedless swim baits. We have to apply them, and maybe this will help, maybe it won't. But I'm gonna give you some tips that I've learned over the years that I've applied. And one little special tip: watch it till I say it. I'll say it at the end. Maybe you'll actually listen to me. Over the years, I've had a lot of opportunity to try a bunch of stuff out here because it's a weedy system, and I found some things that work and things that don't work. So, anyways, your standard weedless, this is a Rago weedless. This is large for a lot of guys. I know you're probably not going to throw this, but if you think a Hud's big, this is way smaller than a Hud. And out here, Rago weedless hard to beat. Rising Sun, weedless Rising Sun's hard to beat. Shellback Customs a little smaller. It's a pretty good bait. I need to give it some more work. I have my favorites, and I'm guilty of not probably throwing it enough. But this is a good bait, like Solid Paddle Tail. And there's a bait that I don't think gets thrown enough. People think about, I hear a million times that hollow belly isn't a swim bait. These are Bass Magic cheapies. I'll go into why I like these and Bass Tricks at a certain time of year in a second. But hollow bellies are unbelievable fish catchers in clear water, muddy water, a lot of stuff. They have a crazy action. I used to not throw them, and I don't know why I don't. I don't really throw Kitex that much, but I'm sure I don't have to speak on that. They're they straight produce. I don't think they have a crazy as an action as this hollow belly. Hollow belly is kind of spastic, so those are a good choice. I think they're more similar to an action like this. And then we have our trash fish, which has a real subtle action. This is an unbelievable bait. It's an unbelievable weedless bait for drawing bites in clear water, pressured fish. I mean, it works all the time, but clear water and pressured fish, this thing is just killer. This is the trash fish fat. And this is like the standard. I throw this on the 8/0 and this on the 6/0. The fat on the 8/0, the regular on the 6/0. I throw them on light fluorocarbon because when I'm throwing these, I'm really looking for like a finesse swim bait bite, something natural. And they will. I mean, the fins stick off the side. These are unbelievable baits. And they last pretty good. I mean, they rip, but what are you going to do, right? I mean, I want to get bites. I'm not going to complain about a bait ripping if it works for me, and it does. And then you got your 316. I don't think there's another bait like this. It's got a little air bladder. It floats on top. It's almost like a wake bait. These are awesome baits. These are awesome baits, especially instead of throwing a frog, or especially if there's a lot of people throwing a frog. This can really get them when the water's flat. The tail just makes a ripple on the surface. They just crush it. 6/0 beast hook weightless. You can swim it under. You can nose hook it and put it on a Carolina rig. And that's a good way to present this weedless swim bait. I think that the nose hook is weedless. You could get one that has like a weed guard on it. But if you do that, you don't pop this bladder, and it kind of floats up on a split shot or Carolina rig behind, like over the top of the weeds. I don't want it to sink into it. I kind of want it to be lazy. That's a good technique with this bait, this 316 minnow. So I'm going to throw these every chance I get. If I'm throwing them in clear water, I'm going to try to stay subtle if there's no wind. If there's wind, I want to throw a hollow belly, something like this. If I'm trying to present a larger bait to larger fish. This kind of works all the time. This Rago works really well. So does the Weedless Rising Sun. You can slow roll it. I prefer this most of the time because I fish heavy cover, and I feel like the higher vibration stands out in the cover and attracts fish out of the weeds or out of the wood or wherever they're in to come out and get it. When I'm fishing more open water or over the tops or pockets, I'll go for this when it's flat, this type bait when it's windy in the pockets. This I'm fishing slop, and when it's dead calm is when I throw this minnow. This like wake bait style weedless, dead calm. There's also, let's talk about this. I was talking about why I throw this. The Bass Tricks Original is an awesome bait. I throw this because I think they're stiffer. And I don't know if if it's even true. But in my mind, the Bastrix doesn't have the same vibration pattern as the stiffer rubber does. So the Bastrix, super soft, great bait. I could really creep that thing. When it's colder, I like to throw the Bastrix, and it'll still have that wobble when this might lose it or get tight. I like this because, like I said, it kicks really hard. This plastic kicks really hard. And you can't really get that with the Bastrix, what I found. I used to throw the fats and stuff. So I like to support the originator because they're amazing baits, but I have a technique that I really think that these are effective for. So this is the bait that I choose to do this. And this is like, I use this bait a lot, It just is what it is. So if you're not throwing hollow bellies, whatever brand, there's a million brands. I'm sure they all work. If you're not throwing hollow bellies, you're definitely missing the boat. They're old school or something. You don't throw them anymore, get back on them because these things get bites. Other weedless baits. This is a 316 Rising Sun top hook. And if you look at the way you rig a top hook, it comes out of that bottom hole. You can see it. The line goes up through there and comes out of the back. And then that hook lays on the back, not like that, but flush. I don't use an owner, I use a Gamakatsu round bin. It's a little skinnier than bait. And you can get this thing right on top of the weeds. And this hooks up here. Look, they seem to hook up just fine. You want to just brush this over the top of the weeds, top of the weeds, top of the weeds. This is definitely considered a weedless bait in my opinion. These are actually really great baits, and I never hear anybody talk about it. So you just want, especially early in the year, any wood and stuff, you could get that line through right down on top of it and still have the advantage of the treble. I feel the hookup ratio is still better in this than on the weedless. So this is a weedless option. Don't think it's not, just because it's not on a beast hook. This has a top hook. This is a 316 or the Savage Gear Roach. It has a top hook option. Pretty cool. I think it's weedless as heck when it's up top, so you can get it right over the weeds. So those are all like the traditional weeds. You want to go over the top of the weeds. So something I feel like people miss out on with weedless swim baits is throwing this mission fish or a mission fish style lure. The problem I have with weedless swim baits is that they sink kind of like this. And the problem is when you're fishing weeds or clumpy weeds, when you clear a weed clump, say this is a weed clump and this comes over the top, it'll drift down away from the fish if the fish is tight. With these, well, especially with the mission fish, you can see the back. It's got its bites. It's fishing more vertical. So you could really slow roll it, and it has some twist to it. It doesn't look all that great, but they bite it. So who cares? But you're going to bring it up and over weeds and get it at the base of that weed more than these baits that kind of like float down over it. It doesn't hover. It's coming straight down. I never hear anybody talk about these anymore. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about them now, but get these mission fish and throw them like a weed, and you could reel it through toolies, reel it over the weeds just like these, and then just let it fall right down, and it'll get smoked on the fall. Just absolutely crushed. If you give it slack line, it kind of does like a twister. If you keep it tight, you can still keep it drifting. This is a very versatile bait that doesn't get used. Get a beast hook without a weight on it. I like the beast hook instead of the old ones they used to come with. And then just get it tucked right up in there. Mickey did a video a long time ago about twisting the hooks. Get a pair of pliers and twist those hooks so it's a little offset and it sits a little sideways on the back. That's a good tip. It's worked out well for me. So remember that weedless swim baits will just hover. So pick up a mission fish so you can get to the base of that cover in between holes. It can be a pain with any fishing weeds with anything. You want to get in there, and sometimes you hang up, and sometimes you got to rip it out. But if you want to be effective, you want to get it really close to that cover. In the current cuts, hard bottom, I don't know how you can beat this. You could let this land on the hard bottom and sit there and it'll smoke it like a jig. It's stupid. So just because it's not on a weedless hook doesn't mean it's not a weedless swim bait. So my tip, definitely my brother-in-law doesn't get mad at me. This is a ribbit frog. People throw them. This is like a buzz frog, I guess you would say. On top, use it like a buzz bait. So on the Delta, we have a lot of crawfish. Ooh, it stinks. So, on the Delta, we have a lot of crawfish. And they're in all types of cover. Crawdads love weed cover, they love wood cover, they love all that stuff. Out here we have hyacinth, pennywort, peppergrass, all kinds of floating stuff. Crawdads will get right up in there in the mat. A while ago, kind of got turned on to this thing, and I didn't know why I was effective. Haven't heard nothing, so I'm going to give it to you guys. I don't know how many will do it, but if you ever seen a crawdad swim, they kick backwards real fast. They shoot across to evade predators. When they're up in the mat, they're climbing around. They can't really move fast till they're in the water. A lot of times punching, you know, that they hit it on the drop. Well, the crawdads are crawling around the top, so they're falling in. A lot of times they're shooting down, but when a crawdad floats down, it's very slow. It, you know, hovers almost. When they kick, they go down. If you look at that profile, like this, if it's swimming this way, it's kind of close to the shape of a crawdad swimming with its claws out. Even though this is kicking on the crawdad, the tail, and the arms aren't moving, these are still vibrating and giving that thump, thump, thump. So I'm going to put this on a weighted beast hook. You could use the trocars, you know, whatever. No, I don't think it matters. But pull it right through. I run it opposite. I don't like that hook slot. So you're going to want to, with a weighted hook. So get that thing next to overhead cover, which is phenomenal for big fish. Next to anything where you think a crawdad might be evading, and reel it in like a swim bait. I'm sure you could just throw it anywhere, but that's what I throw it to represent, and it really gets bites, especially on the Delta. I'm probably going to be sorry for sharing this, but right next to mats, hyacinth, peppergrass, like I said, even in the top of the tulies when there's weeds around, you want to get it under the surface. On the top, it's really not doing much for a crawdad unless, you know, sometimes they're on top flopping. Mainly they're under swimming. Pitch it into pockets, reel it out just like a crawdad trying to shoot out of cover and evade a fish, and you'll be very, very surprised at the size of fish and how many fish come out and just smoke this thing. Just stupid. So that's my tip. And it's accounted for a lot of fish, and I've never really told anybody. But this is a crawdad imitator when you put it on a weedless hook. It's a very good weedless bait. So hopefully that helps. Stanley rivet frog, crawdad imitator. All these are bait fish, obviously, but don't think inside the box. This is a wake bait. This doesn't look weedless, but it's definitely a weedless bait. Savage gears, all these 3D baits are killer. I mean, to be honest with you, I've got a couple that weren't too bad. That didn't swim super awesome, but I contacted Mark and Mike, and they took care of me, and these ones are crazy. I can't believe how good this roach swims. This roach swims unbelievable. And with the hook on top, I fish it through a lot of cover and don't have any problems. Don't sleep on the mission fish. Still gets bites. Clear water. Shellback Customs. Great all-around bait. This is on the Trokar kelp hook. Has that little spur on the back. Pretty good. Anyways. Hopefully that'll help you guys out. Alright, with these weedless baits, I'm going to be throwing them on either the Maverick, the Spiralite Maverick Heavy Fast. I really like the Maverick Heavy Fast for these smaller weedless baits. But you can go with the Defiant Heavy Fast too, but I like the Maverick. It's a little bit slower. It's only 110 bucks too. So with these smaller baits, I'm throwing that Maverick Heavy Fast. Even the shellback. The mission fish, I've done well on that also. But I prefer to throw it on a heavier rod, depending on the size. This is the larger one. And when I step up to the Rago and the Weedless Rising Sun, and maybe this bait, the larger mission fish, I'm going to throw it on the 8.3 Defiant. The 8.3 Defiant series is just the ultimate larger weedless rod. for these ragos and these things that are becoming popular. Probably the Battle Shad. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but it gets bites, and I would definitely throw that on the heavier 8'3", because you want to drive these 10-aught hooks home, or 12-aught hooks, whatever it may be. Hollow belly, no matter what size, I'm throwing it on that Maverick Heavy Fast. So check out Spiral Light. We got rods that I picked up and we put through the ringer and put fish in the boat, drive the hook. I mean, we tested them to work, and they definitely do the job when it comes to this Weedless Swimmer, the Maverick 8-foot Heavy Fast Defiant 8.3 swim bait series. Thanks.